name's Sailor Pluto. Tessa here. Tissa here, I guess Tessa. Yeah, and Tissa. And today I'm going to talk about something that I think needs to be talked about. So, anyway, this is how it goes. Cut my ear out. Alright. So there's always going to be those who always ask us, oh, why we don't do YouTube mateship. Oh, why we don't have business wises on our films. Or why we're not getting galled for our films. Now, there's always going to be those folks that always say, oh, well, I was like you once. Well, first off, if you were like me, then you wouldn't have any of your shit together, would you? You wouldn't have all this looking and watching. You wouldn't have all these followers, you know. Yeah. So you wouldn't be like me. You would have all this watch time and all these followers, and you would have already had a Google AdSense or made one. That one would have already been set up, and you would have already linked it with your YouTube reckoning and all the other stuff. And you would have played the dumb stopping game to see if YouTube would either take you on or say no, and then make you stop for about 3 or 4 months before you could do it again. So, no. If you were like me, as some of the folks out there like to say when I would scave mateship, first off, you have not been like me. You have not been a mate to begin with. You have not even picked to be a mate. Alright? So, why? There are way too many downsides to being a YouTube mate than there is upsides. But then with life, there's always upsides and downsides to everything. But I believe the downsides take away from the upsides. 1, you have to be business-wise friendly. Now, what that means is that you have to make films that businesses would be, happy or friendly with buying or selling business-wise time on. Now, you could be in good standing with followership oversight and YouTube oversight. You could be in good standing with ownership law. But, which say for some grounds your films just are not business-wise friendly. Then no business-wise is going to buy time on it. And that's the first thing that one has to think about. You got 4 things then you have to be always thinking about. Oh, well, my film's meeting all these 4 things? Yeah. You'd be like, oh, is my film meeting YouTube followership oversight, YouTube oversight, the land ownership law? Oh, and then am I also business-wise friendly? Yeah, 4 things you gotta hope you're in good standing with. Then, on top of it, YouTube is always shifting the mateship oversight. They are. The oversight doesn't keep the same. It's not like the YouTube followership oversight or YouTube's oversight. That always keeps the same. At the end of the day, it does not keep the same. They're always shifting the oversight. So someone who may have been a mate with having, 100 followers, having 100 looks on their films, might be cut off because YouTube made a new oversight that said you had to have at least 200 or 300 followers and 200 or 300 looks on your films. So you could lose your mateship that way. They're always shifting the oversight. And the whole headache of being a mate, getting into mateship, it's not worth it. You know, you mean you hear about mates always bitching, whining, and nagging about YouTube mateship, about the unfairness of the follower of the oversight, the unfairness of how YouTube, you know, does things when it comes to a mate. Well, keep in mind, a YouTube mate is still free. You didn't buy the mateship, alright? You didn't buy the Google AdSense. You didn't buy the YouTube either. You didn't buy your YouTube reckoning or your Google AdSense or AdWords reckoning, whatever you have. Well, AdWords you can actually buy, and AdSense is free. So, YouTube doesn't have any answerability to the mates. Alright? But the mates bitch, whine, and nag, and I don't want to be one of those that's always bitching, whining, and nagging about mateship, about the unfairness of it. Then there comes the whole asking about toll. Does YouTube take out anything? Well, the answer would be no. So if you don't want to have a toll reckoning on yourself unless you need to have one on yourself, being a YouTube mate is going to get you one. Only they're not going to take anything out. You're going to probably get at the end of the year some sheet, I don't know when, January, February, who knows, when you get this sheet and YouTube tells you everything that you earned for either your business wises, but that's not including what you earned on your own job, if you have one. A lot of YouTube mates actually don't work anymore. They gave that up to be a YouTube mate. But so mostly what you earn is that. Then you have to, at least, then you have to, you gotta get that all bookkeeped with whoever your toll taker is. So at the end of the day, it's not, there are way too many downsides. Oh, did I forget to say this before I end the film? When uploading a film, unlike a nun mate where you don't gotta tell YouTube what's in your film, you gotta tell YouTube everything it is or is not in your film. Then you also have to be frightened and always be wondering, well, is my film going to be in good standing? Is YouTube going to say it's going to make a mistake, or is someone there going to say it's in bad standing? Yeah, if you're a YouTube mate, you lost all of your freedom. You got YouTube watching everything you say and do, and you're a mate. You know? And YouTube mates, they don't know this, but I'm guessing a lot of them do. YouTube mates get less freedom, and they're looked at more. So it's not worth being a YouTube mate. I'll never be a YouTube mate, and that's that. You know. I'm Sailor Pluto Tissa. Hope you like this film.